on the YouTube channel where you can see it or even download it if you want to. It'll be posted some hours later after we finished converting it to a format we can upload to YouTube. The agenda. We have a big change this month, and that is we're going to start with what is known as the CRM part. So sales, customer service, field service, and project service automation. That'll be covered by Pedro Azevedo. He will take that. Then we'll have the finance and operations stuff where I'll start. Then I'll hand over to Laza Janev. And the tips and tricks, I'm actually going to put them up on top at the start so that we start with something that's fun. And finally, we'll have QA if you have any questions left and wrap up. Now, I guess it's Recan's turn. They're going to tell you a little something about themselves. Jonathan.
Yeah. Thank you, Lewis, and hello, everyone. But for those of you joining us from the UK, I hope you all managed to escape the beast from the east and Storm Emma. Welcome to March's Dynamics 365 Unified Operations webinar, and also now encompassing CRM and Power BI. To quickly introduce myself, I'm Jonathan Fisher, and I'm part of the management team here at Recan, and I help lead our Dynamics recruitment practice. For those of you joining us for the first time, and before Louis begins providing you with the updates from Microsoft this month, I'd like to share with you a brief animation which provides an overview of Recan, our services, and how potentially we can help you and the companies that you're working for. So, Louis, if we could start the animation. Right, so I hope you all enjoyed the animation. Just to give you a bit of an update from us this month, it's been a very busy February for us here at Recan. We've successfully hired 2 additional Dynamics recruitment consultants to the team, 2 very experienced recruitment consultants within the Dynamics space, so watch this space. For any information regarding new market news, whether that's information about salaries or rates or new job opportunities that are available, then please do get in touch, or even if you just want to have a quick call or a quick catch up, then yeah, as I say, please get in touch. So back to you, Louis, and hope you all enjoy the webinar.
Thank you very much. Just then a little bit about us for the guys who are new. This is the team. Today we'll see the first guy, that's me, Luis, and then we have Laze, who's going to do Power BI, and then we have Pedro, who's going to do very soon all the CRM stuff. And the other guys are part of the core team. We have other people that work with us, but these are the main people with us. I'm not going to read it for you. You can check it out. The important thing is everybody's very experienced. Important news, something to book on your calendar. Recan, together with us, is organizing a management implementation workshop. This is a short overview of all the stuff you need to know and understand if you're going to implement Dynamics 365. It's going to be in London, in the UK, on the 13th of April at the University of London. So if you're interested in joining this, drop one of the guys from Recon line, or drop one of the guys from XABS, and we'll send you and get you talking with the Recon guys who are organizing it. Tips and tricks. So this way we try to give you something interesting in every session. Hotfixes. Hotfixes can be applied from Visual Studio. So basically you go in Visual Studio in the Dynamics 365 menu item, add-ins, you open the menu, and then as you can see on screen, apply a hotfix. These are hotfixes from Microsoft. Their important thing is that they have to have a special format. They have to be in AXCDP format. The nice thing is when you apply those, then you have nice UI, and takes care of basically updating all the changed objects for you, and makes it easy instead of having to do it from the command line. So that's a tip for any of you guys who work with this kind of stuff. Any questions? If somebody has a question, just type it and I'll try and keep an eye on it and get back to you. Next, today I have two tips. The add-on VM enable access. And this is not new, but a lot of people have not noticed it yet. If you have add-on environments in your LCS projects, Dynamics 365 projects, a while ago, it was in the last year, Microsoft locked down the ability to just RDP to your VMs. Now, what really that is now you have to explicitly authorize it, and you do that, you go to the LCS project page, go to the add-on environment page, so that will be your project page for most of you, and then you will click the menu item maintain, and go to the bottom, enable access. That will pop up a pane, and in that pane allows you to modify the network security group rules. You have to add your IP address. As you can see here, and what I have an example, it can also be in an IP range or subnet. Okay, one important thing about this is, for example, if you're working remotely, and this catches a lot of people, you will have both an internal IP address and an external IP address. You have to figure out your external IP address, and that's the one you have to use. So if you're traveling in a hotel or just outside of the normal office, that'll change all the time. So you will need to either have access to LCS as an environment manager to do that, or you will need to ask somebody who's an admin to do that for you and provide them with your IP address. To find out what your public IP address is, very simple. Just go into Google and type my IP, my public IP, and it'll tell you. So those were the two tips and tricks for today. I hope you find them useful. Any questions? Nope. So now I'm going to hand over to Pedro, who's going to cover all the CRM stuff. Pedro, it's all yours. Just tell me when to flip the slides.
Okay. So welcome to everybody. So I'm Pedro Azevedo, and today I will talk about customer engagement applications and solutions, and the news that we have not only February, but since the beginning of the year. So Luis, you can move, please. So since January, we can upgrade our instance to version 9 of Dynamics 365. So you can go to administration portal and you can schedule your upgrade. You can do that till August, and you have to hurry up because the time slots are almost filled. And yeah, to get the new version, you can get there. And already it's a get out update for version 9 that gets out in February. And they don't bring any new features, but fix almost a random fix. So, and it's called Update 01. You can move. Which. So just to resume a little bit, because this was a major release from Microsoft, just to make sure that you know what are the major features and deprecations of this version. So I will not be too massive talking on each point, but I want to touch in some of them. Especially we don't have any more SDK, only a developer guide. So if we need to download the DLLs, the tools, we need to get them from NuGet. Okay, so there are scripts, there are PowerShell scripts to download everything. Just look at in Dynamics docs, and you will find that scripts. Another big thing is the virtual entities. The virtual entities will allow us to connect to other systems, and we don't need to get the data inside of Dynamics CRM. They live in other systems, and we can access them in Dynamics CRM. So it's nearly very equal to a normal entity, but the data doesn't live inside of Dynamics CRM. This will increase a lot our integration tasks. Right now, we are only able to connect through OData and in a read base. Okay, we can't write back to the system yet. Another big thing is auto numbers. So we are looking for it since version from the beginning, and we never had a solution for that. Right now we have, but only through API. So if you want to configure an auto number, we need to recur to API. Fortunately, the community already did a tool for us. In XRM toolbox, we already has a tool that configured that for us. Okay, so go forward with the XRM toolbox. Another big thing is multi-select option set, so we can throw away our custom solutions to do that. Microsoft already supports that. And another thing is the last point, the web API improvements. That is a mistake, but we have a lot of improvements. So the API or data has much more faster. Attention that the new version has a bug when we select the columns to get the data, we will receive all the columns. So right now we can decide if you want to use the new or the old. If you need a lot of data or all the columns, the new web API version is better. But if you need just 1, 2, 3 columns, please use the old version of OData, okay, until Microsoft fix that problem. Please, can you move forward, please? Okay, talking about deprecations. So we had a deprecation in Dynamics 365 for Outlook, but we don't have. They roll back that deprecation. So right now, Dynamics 365 for Outlook is not deprecated, and they ensure that they will improve and support that version. This is because Dynamics 365 app Outlook, that is the new version of this tool, that is much more flexible, is already set and it's working, and the new version has a lot of the features that the old version has, but they say that they get a lot of feedback that they will not deprecate it anymore. Another thing that I want to to talk about. It's related also with the new version, that is the client APIs. They changed it, so we need to change our JavaScript because we have another client API. You can move forward, please. Okay, another update. Here I will be very quickly. We have a new version for field service and project service automation. They fix a lot of bugs and performance issues, essentially. Okay, I want to put more effort on universal resource scheduling. It's something that it's not only for field and project service, it's for all the Dynamics 365 applications. So you can schedule a lead, you can schedule an opportunity. So it's not basically only for field and project service, okay? This is for all Dynamics 365 applications, okay? And there is a lot of new features, and they are betting a lot on that, okay? Can move forward, please. Okay, talking about solutions. So about solutions, we have a new version of Voice of Customer. For who doesn't know what is Voice of Customers, is what allow us to do inquiries to our and give voice to our customers, so they can classify our service, our sales rep, okay, and we can launch the surveys automatically or on demand. So we can configure that whenever we do a service, the survey is sending to the customer that received the service. Okay, and we have a lot of we have two new features. That is the cascade delete. So when we delete the survey, everything that depends on that survey will be deleted also. And we can repair a configuration if we accidentally, for example, we deleted or we misconfigured everything. Okay, so we can recover that. And there are some issues that were fixed also. You can move it. So in the portals, so portals, for who doesn't know, it's what allow to us to have a portal almost without code. So everything is configured in Dynamics 365 side. And we have at least one portal for free if we subscribe a plan. So it's something that is very useful for us. So we don't need anymore to have a custom portal in ASP.NET, PHP, or another language. We can take advantage of this offer from Microsoft. A second instance is a little, it's 500 euros per month. So try to do everything in this first portal that we get for free. And we have some new features. So we have the developers can see the error logs, a complete error logs, and to allow us to debug issues, okay, that the customer report to us. And yeah, we have the new regulation data, so, and they implement that in the portals. You can move forward, please, Luis. So regarding with the service, we have updates also in Microsoft Social Engagement. Social Engagement allow us to search in internet everything that is public, or if it is private, we have to, for example, Facebook. We can search on Facebook, but if we have a profile, and this tool will search in our profile of Facebook, okay? So everything that is public, it can search for keywords. And you can see an example in the picture. They search for HoloLens, and you can see what is the most used words when we search for HoloLens. You can see the smile if you have positive statements or a negative statements. Okay, they use Azure machine learning to check that, and we can see how our brand is or our concurrent is. Okay, so like that we can improve our customer service, for example, or see opportunities when something wrong with our competitors. And there are improvements, not something that deserves much effort. So let's move forward. Unified Service Desk, so an application that is more for call centers or for something that we need to automate. Okay, so it's a tool that allows to us to open many applications in the same session, so we don't lose focus in another session or another thing that we are doing, and they open that applications in that context. Okay, so we will open if someone called to us, this is connected with a call center, and if they recognize the number, you will open automatically the profile in CRM, in ERP, or in an internet page, for example. Okay, and we receive a lot of things for administrators, not for developers, and essentially about performance. It's something that Microsoft is increased this tool because this tool is very, very important for some customers, and they are essentially increase the performance and getting that for us. So we know what is not performing in our unified service desk. And I think that's all.
Yes, so that was all the CRM updates. Thank you, Pedro. I haven't received any questions, so there's no answers. So to make this a little more interactive, I'm going to ask everybody to please do a short poll. And what I'd like to know which Dynamics 365 products you're interested in, to see relative to what we're covering, if we should be covering more stuff or if we're covering stuff you're not interested in. So I'm going to launch it now. I would appreciate it. It's being distributed. If you would just tell us what you're interested in, I'll give you guys a couple of minutes to do that. So let's see how this comes in. And people are voting. That's good. Okay, there's some people are interested in everything that we have. And we have 60% of the people in the meeting already, or in the webinar, that have already voted. I'll give it another 30-ish seconds to give everybody a chance, and then I'll read the results out for you guys, so we share it with you. Okay, we're upon 70% of people have voted. And now we're in the final countdown of a few more seconds. And I'm going to close it now. So the results for everybody. Everybody's interested in finance and operations enterprise. Interesting, half or 50% of the people in this session are also interested in finance and operations business version, which is the old NAV. and a few people interested in the customer engagement, in talent, and flow, logic apps, and power apps. Okay, thank you very much. We'll keep that in mind and make sure and see if something interesting in those areas comes up. We'll make sure to bring it up. And now I'll go and tell you something about what's new with LCS. So LCS updates. There were actually, in February, there were actually 2 LCS updates. So that's why you're seeing here on the top of this slide says release 1. One of them was now VHDs can be downloaded directly through LCS. It used to be that you had to go download them in Connect, and if you try to install a new VM or provision a new VM, when you clicked on it being local, it was just a link would just throw you to Connect. You have to log in again and download it. Now, if you see what's happening here, is actually there's an extra tab in the asset library of LCS that I've marked called Downloadable VHD. You go in there and click the import button, and then you'll be allowed to pick a downloadable VHD. Now, just like it was in Connect, the VHDs are actually compressed, and there are a whole bunch of compressed files. So you have to go and pick all the files, and then you get them into the asset library. And the asset library, like all other assets, you click on it, and it will download it to your machine, where you can then extract it and run it under Hyper-V. So that was, it's a more controlled way, I would say, because now you can see which VHDs you've downloaded in your asset library. So it's with all the other assets that you use in your projects or in your project. So that is pretty nice. Now, another one that came out in release 1 was updates to the subscription estimator. This one was actually quite a smart one. You guys probably remember that the estimation until now has been done was that you downloaded an Excel file, which is a sample, and then you had some workbooks in there where you had to fill in stuff. Amongst other things, you had to estimate the number of licenses that were inferred. Now now the subscription licenses and transaction details are used to infer your subscription instead. So you can see I've marked over there is an extra menu item there called subscriptions. That's just so you click on that, then you get to a page that I'm showing on the right side, which shows the subscriptions available, and now your needs will be calculated directly from there. So that's just making it a little simpler and making sure that things match between the licenses you have and what Microsoft's going to size your system for. Another one that came out, this one's actually quite interesting, and it is the ability to upgrade your database directly from LCS on development environments. And I have the steps in there. Until now, the way to do this was all manual. Basically, you had to download a data upgrade package. You had to update or upgrade a database, and that would upgrade it to the version of that you are upgrading to. And we're talking application here. And once you do that, then you have installed environments with that version, and you could use that database to see this. So typically, this would be your golden config or a copy of production that you were doing this with. And this is because I actually think I have a point somewhere today, but I'll cover it now. As some of you and a lot of people actually seem not to be aware of, the platform updates, you can apply them directly from LCS to environments, but there's actually no way to upgrade the application on an environment. You basically have to install new environments from scratch and check out your old ones. This does not get rid of that problem, but it does allow you to go to your production environment and apply and upgrade the database directly there. Before, it was a little more complicated. So things are moving in the right direction here. Now, release 2, which came out, I think, about a week or so later, adds something which is the ability to download critical X++ updates. So if Microsoft has X++ updates that are critical to your production environment, so this is just on your production environment, it will it's automatic. That's automatically detected, and there's on the tile. If you go in the monitoring, there'll be a tile there which will show. You can see here in the X+ updates. There's the one that already used to exist, which is all the X++ updates, which also exists for non-production environments. Production environments, to the right of it, you'll find the critical X++ updates, and because these are critical, it's advised that check for them on a regular basis, and therefore apply them ASAP. Now, applying them follows the standard process of all X++ updates. You have to download them to development environment, build a deployable package, create it, deploy them to your test, go through your whole release cycle until you're happy and ready to put them in production. Then you create a service request, and the Microsoft DSC will apply it to production for you. Also, in release 2, the translation service has added a request type, as you can see here. Right now, the only request type that exists is the user interface, but Microsoft's going to be adding more. I don't really know at this point what the purpose of it is, but just be aware of it. There's going to be something there. But now you have to specify that. But it's easy. There's only user interface. Another one, the translation service had a known issue, which was you actually would not be able to find it in your project as a tile. Tiles only show for non-implementation projects. So this was, if any of you are partners or ISVs, if this appears, you should be able to find it on the burger menu. It should still be there. That's the workaround. It's there. This brings us to platform updates. Does anyone have any questions at this point? Don't see any questions. So I'll steam ahead. Platform updates, PU13 is where we are at. So there wasn't any platform update this month. We covered PU13 last month. And just to make sure that everybody aware, it's still the latest one. You will not find an LCS unless you're part of the Continuous Auto Update Advantage Program, CAAP. All the stuff in there will be included in another upcoming journal availability release, and rumors have it that we are not going to see anything before April. If you're interested, and I missed an I in that line, if you're interested in participating in the target releases, see the CAAP nomination site. You have the URL there, and basically you go there and you nominate yourself and fill in a whole bunch of information, and they'll consider whether they want to allow you in. Any questions? So that was it on platform updates. On the application updates, they've also nothing particularly new. It's still the latest one, is 7.3, released in December. And the reason why I have this is where I wanted to call everybody's attention that you cannot apply them from LCS. You cannot even download the package and apply it. You must provision new environments with it, do the database upgrades, and then use the new one, switch to the new database, and you end up checking out your existing environments. Not great, but the important thing is that we know it's like that. And you can see that's the build number if you check in there. It's also known as the fall release. This gets us to VS and VSTS updates. Any questions? Not seeing any questions, so I will continue. And provisioning a test environment. There's an issue with this, and we've actually brought this up. I brought this up with Microsoft several times, but I haven't got in very far with it. The important thing is when you provision a test environment, you will actually see that the test environments are called build and test environments. in reality, if you go and inspect them afterwards, these are build environments. And I forgot this month and installed one and got into trouble over it. So I'll call your attention that they will automatically add an agent to the agent queue in VSTS. If you don't specify one, it'll add it to the default one. And the result of that is that any builds using that queue, if they're triggered or started, they will attempt to use that agent, but the environment is not really a build environment and it's not set up for it, because you will not have done that since what you really want to use it for is for testing. So that'll cause your builds to fail. The solution to this is go to the queue in question and delete the agent, get rid of it. Your environment will still be a build environment and will still have a build agent installed in it, but that doesn't cause any problem. It's just weird. But what causes problems is when you provision these environments, they will cause your builds to break. Any questions? Now, I think this is quite a neat feature. Something that is the ability to discuss work items in Microsoft Teams. As some of you have probably heard, Skype for Business is probably going to be taken over or become the replacement for that's going to become Microsoft Teams. And in VSTS, if you're working in VSTS and checking code in or out or working on some work items, so it's not only for the real technical people, you might even be doing requirements. You can using the extensions for VSTS, you can discuss a specific item with other members of your team directly from VSTS, which is very nice because it's all in the same environment. They can see what you're seeing, and you can go back and forth in it. So if you or eventually when Skype for Business gets replaced, there'll be no reason not to use it. But even right now, if you're using Teams, this is very nice that directly from VSTS you can interact with other people on your team and discuss things. And any questions? Nope. This one's a nice thing that just makes things a little simpler. And it's mentioning a group in a work item and pull request discussions. Pull request discussions are for Git, and which is not supported for Dynamics 365 for operations. But so pull requests are a Git thing. But if you are, yes, I can see somebody has raised his hand. And the question is, do you know if there is a new installation process for Dynamics 365 for Enterprise Edition on-premise in the spring, which is much faster? There's going to be something. Whether it's going to be faster or not, I do not know. We'll have to wait and see, I guess. But it should be. This depends also on what you're thinking of faster. It's a lot of environments you have to install and configure. So the fastness is the actual process of installation, just like installing Microsoft Office on your machine. So relatively to what it takes to actually install a whole environment like that, or something like SQL Server on always on cluster, it's probably not going to make a huge difference though. But when you're installing, it should go faster. We'll wait to see. I hope that answers your question. So this the group and work item. The nice thing about it is if you want to mention different people at the same time or a team, instead of having to do it individually, you can do an @ mention or @ which is and the team name, and that will automatically mention everybody involved in there. That means if it's a work item where you need to be mentioned, that instead of having to individually do them person by person, you can use a team or security group in your discussions. So, and this is quite normal that there are several people involved and that need to be put in there. So that's nice, makes it a little simpler. And build and release. Now, actually, there's a whole bunch of stuff and new stuff in the STS, which is interesting, but I've only selected things that are relevant directly to what you'd be doing in the STS normally for Dynamics 365 for operations. And filtering and branches using include and exclude. You can now specify branches not to trigger a release. For example, if you want to trigger a release for all the dev branches, but not for a specific sub-feature, you can exclude it. Before it would take everything. So that's nice that you can say, yeah, I wanted everything in this branch, but I have this feature, so this sub-branch that I don't want to build. So that allows you to organize things and avoid building stuff that you don't really necessarily want to build in your build definition. Scope a variable group to specific environments. Now, variable groups are used as input to your build definitions. And until now, you basically had one, and it would be used for all the builds and releases that were part of the release of build definition. This way, what you can do is you can say, for this environment, I'm going to use this variable group, and for that environment, I'm going to use a different variable group. So basically, instead of having to have multiple build and release definitions, you can just have one and then specify for the different environments which variable groups you're going to use. Makes it nicer so you don't have so many build and release definitions. Manage access and extensions for large numbers of users using groups. This basically is that you can use AAD and or VSTS groups. So you can set rules in there, and it will automatically grant people the correct access levels instead of you having to manage everything individually. So that's, if you're managing the STS, that's nice. There's reduced latency, which used to be, and considering if you really want to use AAD for managing your users and the STS, was impractical, which took 24 to 48 hours to be reflected in VSTS, the changes you made in AAD. Now it's down to about 1 hour, which makes it practical. And the leave account, it used to be that only account owners, administrators could remove users from an account. Now you can do that yourself if you no longer want to be involved in it. So self-service, nice self-service feature. Any questions? PowerBI Updates. This is where I hand over to Lasse. Lasse, your turn.
Oh, hi. Louis, can you give me some control that I can flip the slides, or you flip the slides?
I will just ask me to flip and I'll flip.
All right. So, hello everyone. As always, Microsoft is really pushing Power BI. So every month there's these groups of improvements that are made for Power BI, and every month we have similar things. So we have updates in the reporting, analysis, custom visuals, and also the data connectivity and some other that are not grouped, some other changes. We'll try to pass, as we don't have a lot of time. I'll pass through everything, but we cannot get everything into details. Louis, go forward, please. Thank you. So in the reporting, now you can select Microsoft released one of the most asked feature, actually, which is that you can control and click on the data points in multiple charts, and you can have the cross filters applied so to your entire report. As you select your data points across multiple charts, the Power BI will apply both those filters together. For example, if you select like computers in a column chart and regular in a pie chart, then all the charts in your report page will be filtered to your products, and then your computers that are computers and regular. It's a quite nice feature, and it was heavily requested. Go forward, Louis. So one another big request from everyone is to have slicers that can be applied to multiple pages. So they released sync slicers, as you can see in the screenshot pane, and they will let you select slicers to stay in sync across multiple pages. So, for example, if you're selecting red on a product color slicer on page 1 will be affected in the product color slicers on the page 2, which is a quite nice feature. And everything is synced together. There are a lot of more details into this. You can contact us if you want to know how this logic works. Microsoft also added a minor improvement to the numeric slicer preview visual that is mentioned here. So now you can create a range slicer using a whole number column. It will snap to rounded values and it will not apply any decimal filters. And from starting of this month, the PowerBI will be testing a new, faster way to geocode your map data. This new method can have up to 6 times more improvement than the geocoding speed, improvement of the geocoding speed. And this depends on the amount of the data you have, of course. If you have a lot of data, this will not be such a very big improvement. While you shouldn't notice any changing of the actual location results that you're getting back, the results will come back much faster. So Microsoft really wanted to keep it safe with this change, so they choose to flight this feature, meaning that they're going to release it to a very small group of users and will over time slowly increase the number of users that are getting this feature. Take a note that when Microsoft decides to flight the new features, they will only affect the Power BI service, so not your desktop reports. And they will try to keep it forward like in the Office preview. Next slide, please. There are so many options in the formatting and in the listing pane, so it can be very hard to find the options that you're looking for. So that's why, to help with this, Microsoft added a search box on the top that will filter down the options to only those that match your search terms. This is very useful if you have used some feature previously and you maybe remember one word, but you didn't know what was the icon or where it was placed. So you can just put that word in there and it will pop up. You will find your formatting and tool. By default, Power BI now will hide your data labels if you place them inside the data points and they don't fit. But this month, Microsoft also added a formatting option that lets you let the data labels overflow past of the edge of the data point, like the experience that you see in the Excel. And this is very also was requested heavily because the people are used to Excel and used to the feature to do an overlay. Okay, next slide, please. Until now, you could only bring your own data tables by importing it from Excel or using the Power Pilot or through the Live Connect. Now in Power BI, you can mark a table as the whole table as a date table, and this will enable some date hierarchies and time intelligence for the selected tables. There's a lot of features that are implemented here, but we're not going through all of them. Here is the screenshot how you can mark a specific table and what is the column that you want to mark, and Power BI is doing the automatic validation. What is very important for us is also Microsoft added 2 new dynamic size functions this month that will help us working with daytime across time zones. So Dynamics IX has long supported now and today functions that return time and date in the time zone that the function is being used at the moment. So if the PBI file is passed to someone in a different time zone, they'll see different result. UTC now and UTC today will always return the current time and date of UTC. So you can guarantee consistent results whether you are and the other uploader work on the same Power BI services, meaning that the user that is in Europe, Asia, and or Americas can see the same result when they search at the same time. Get on the next slide, Louis. So the custom visuals that Microsoft is pushing every month enable the developers and the users to visualize their data in the best way to understand the data. Sometimes these visuals are specified to the organization needs and the way that they run the business. The organization typically doesn't want to publish the visuals to the public, but sometimes there is a real need to get those visuals into the hands of data analytics inside the organization and the ones that are maintaining the reports. So it's especially important that it's easy for them to discover appropriate visuals and to maintain and update these visuals so that they use them. So the feature is currently in preview. It's called organizational custom visuals. You'll need to enable it from the options menu, like it is pointed out in the screenshots. And if you need help with this, please contact us. Next slide. One of the new custom visuals is the network visualization and filter. It's a network chart by Zoom charts. And this has the ability to visualize some of the data as network structure and filter data through a variety of gestures and smart touches on all devices. This network structure lets you have multiple vertex types, more than 2, and it making it possible to see the connections among many categories. The box select feature lets you easily select multiple nodes within the chart to filter your other visuals. Okay, let's go forward. There is another custom visual chart, which is called slope chart by MAQ software, and it allows you to analyze trends in data as a glance. This is very useful for comparing interactions between 2 data points based on time or some other user choice and parameters. Slope chart is most useful if there are notable changes to highlight or for showing comparisons between groups. These charts are usually can be seen in the news, like economy is going down, stocks are going up. Some of the key features here are like a quick comparison or indicator growth for loss gross categories, and it's easy interaction from many data points using sync functionality, and you can quickly download an image on the charts with the capture image widget. Let's go forward. A filter by list visual, which is in the top left corner, lets you bulk apply filter values for a report. Currently, if you want to apply, if you want a filter report with a large number of categories, such as 100 products, you'll need to check each box in the filter pane one by one. With this visual, you can do this immediately by pasting the entire list of products into the slicer visual. The S timeline visual helps you find overlaps and gaps of dates in your data. This is useful for showing things such as team vacation schedules or project plans. And the T accounts visual is used by most accounting professionals and people that work with finance to understand difficult accounting journal entities. And with this visual, you can now create like T accounts in PowerBI directly. Okay, let's go to the next slide. The only new update in the data connectivity for this month is the improvements for the direct query of the SAP HANA. This is in in preview, and as you can read it from the slide itself. This has been long supported. PowerBI has long been supported, but the direct query treated SAP HANA as a relational data source. Now that has been improved, and it's much better. If you work with SAP HANA and Power BI, this is probably good news for you. Let's go on the next slide, please. So what is important is that the latest update includes a large number of improvements of the performance of the reports using the direct query. So if you expect a if you're using a direct query, you should expect some improvements to many queries and substantial improvements in particular cases. This, of course, depends of the queries that you're using in the report. So some of the queries can have a huge improvement, but some others maybe cannot. What are the key performance is that you can are listed here, combining additive and not additive aggregates into a single query, improved handling of queries with a large number of literals, and that is always a problem, of course, use of single SQL query, and so on and so on. Microsoft also made improvements to the performance when opening and saving files, especially when your files are quite large. So in some cases, you can see performance improvement between 40 and 60%, sorry. And if you are a person that have worked with large Power BI files, you know that will be a very, very helpful thing for you. Let's go to the next slide. Microsoft also did some work to improve the show items with no data features. Some visual improvement that here you will see is that for the visual that have show items with no data enabled, you will see a major performance improvement for the visual with columns or filters directly related for that model, and filters related to columns that have show items with no data enabled now respect model bidirectional filtering. They are also planning to release a new feature for reports in the Power BI service very soon, where they will persist filters, slicers, and other data view changes as your report consumers last left them, meaning that all of the settings are saved from the previous start. This will be unique to each one of the users, so they will no longer need to spend their valuable time or time that they spend usually on some other social networks to setting up all of the filtering for the report every time when they visit. Instead, it will be per user, per report. It will be saved in Power BI, meaning it's a user data. And from the new consultancy services resource on the help ribbon that you can see in the bottom left, you can explore a very wide variety of curated fixed price, fixed scope, and fixed duration consultancy services to the partner community from Power BI. There's a lot of packages, briefings, assessment, and workshops and proof of concept implementations. All right, I think with that, I'm finishing up for the Power BI. You can take it over, Louis.
Yes, thank you very much, Lazim. We've already seen tips and tricks, so I'll skip over this one because we've used up our time. So now just to wrap up, please do the feedback. You don't need to remember this. You'll get an email. Just use the link on the email to do it. We appreciate your opinion and your any suggestions, ideas that you have. And I'd like to thank everybody, and hope to see you next month. And I think Jonathan would like to say thank you too, and all the other guys here on the team. So
yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you very much, everybody.
Thank you, everyone who attended. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.